Hello everyone, it's Vivi and welcome. First thing I'd like to bring up from this interview, as the title of the video states, Kingdom Hearts 4 will have much more emphasis on Sora. Nomura's exact quote on the matter: "The story for Kingdom Hearts 4 is focused more on Sora's disappearance." This was actually part of his response to a question asked, surrounding the whole inclusion of other characters in the series, in this case games such as Birth by Sleep and 358 Days Over 2. The questions asked Nomura if he had ever expected characters other than Sora to become so popular, and whether or not they would explore him in KH4 or in future installments. He never expected other characters to become popular. He always thought that folks would want to see more of Sora and Riku. As for KH4, he's not sure if the game will have enough room to explore these other characters as much. Now, knowing that other characters are popular, if possible, he feels it'd be great to explore them more, or continue exploring them in future opportunities, he said. Now, as for the elephant in the room, the Sora and Smash situation, what I mean by this is the word canon being thrown around. Rereading Nomura's statement about Sora and Smash, I started to think that his words were perhaps completely misinterpreted. Misinterpreted to an extent where some folks started believing that Smash literally is canon to the story of Kingdom Hearts. He never used the word canon. So before I say more, let me pull up his exact statement on screen. Behind the scenes, I was actually the one being very picky about his appearance in Smash Bros. Disney was the one that was like, go ahead. This is a great opportunity. I thought it would be tough to pull off because it might clash with the established lore in Kingdom Hearts and the Disney worlds, so it was an opportunity I had to consider very carefully. Let's quickly get one thing out of the way. Disney seemed to be okay about having Sora in Smash. Many seemed to believe that Disney had their claws in this, not allowing Sora in Smash, and being strict about it. Heck, Nomura even acknowledged what many seemed to think for the longest time. I can't believe Disney okayed for him to be in this game. Instead, as stated before, Nomura was the one who was picky. And this is where things blew out of proportion. The whole "it might clash with the established lore in Kingdom Hearts." These words quickly seemed to turn into "wait, is Smash now canon to the story?" A lot of this belief got thrown around, where in reality, Nomura most likely implied something else. In this case, Sora's depiction in Smash. He perhaps was picky in terms of how to show Sora in Smash, not how to explain Smash in the Kingdom Hearts lore. After all, in the end, Nomura said that the results turned out great, which could add on to what we just discussed here. So, moving on, Nomura admits that KH3 has less Final Fantasy characters, and that's simply due to the sheer volume of original characters the series has today. He also wanted to clarify the premise of Kingdom Hearts. He feels the basic concept of Kingdom Hearts is not Disney meets Final Fantasy. He feels that's not what KH is. Instead, he felt like Final Fantasy characters in KH1 were there to mainly help us better understand these few new original characters of Kingdom Hearts. All in all, he explained that they're currently trying to find a balance. He hasn't denied Final Fantasy characters for KH4, but did say that they don't have a firm reply on this just yet. Next up, he discussed the idea of Disney worlds, how KH4 will have a few of them. Here's how we can look at this. A few Disney worlds could mean that KH4 could potentially have more original worlds. Just because he said few, at least according to the translation, it shouldn't define the length of the game. Heck, it's too early to even think about that right now. He later added saying that fans shouldn't worry about this Disney World aspect of the game. He admits that KH4 will feel slightly different than previous titles. He assures us that although the game might feel different, it's still going to feel like a KH game after playing it. When talking about specs increasing, he added, it kind of limits the number of worlds that we can create in a sense. At this time, we're considering how to approach that, but there will be Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts 4. And so now we wonder, what worlds are they feasting their eyes on? Nomura then reiterates what was stated in the extended Famitsu from late April. that the foretellers, or masked characters that appeared in KH3's epilogue in this case, well, they will play a role for the series' continuation. They will act as an obstacle for Sora, and if we go back to that Famitsu interview, it was stated that the foretellers would act akin to Organization 13, which could strongly imply that these foretellers will not be dealt with in just KH4. We are entering a new saga after all. He also threw in the fact that KH4 will present us 2 new characters, but couldn't share more. So again, going back to the Famitsu interview from April, it was stated that Quadratum would act as a base at the start of the game. Now according to Gameinformer's interview, players will find themselves going back and forth to Quadratum, and will spend a good amount of time there. When talking about the graphics being more realistic, he feels like there's more of a realistic daily life aspect to Sora's life. You can see him go in and out of his room and spend time there. I feel like players will get to see more of the day-to-day routines he goes through. Speaking of Sora, a question was asked whether or not Nomura would still picture Sora as the main protagonist of the series. When looking at the main line of the series, he still pictures Sora as the main protagonist, the best candidate at that. Without Sora, he feels that it would indicate the end of numbered titles. Sora is just that important to the series. In terms of characters, worlds, and gameplay, Nomura thinks in advance. Example used in this case is, well, KH4. When working on KH3, he already had thought about what to do with KH4. Speaking of KH3, reaction commands were taken out because he thought fans weren't too thrilled of having those in KH2, but then it all changed. Fans missed reaction commands, and voila, they're bringing it back, he reiterated. The central theme of KH is the heart. They'll continue with that and explore it in different ways. Nomura enjoyed seeing fans' reaction to the reveal of Lushu. For me personally, this scene right here was a huge surprise. As for Missing Link, it is connected to KH4 in many different ways. Although he feels not everyone is into mobile games, he explains that by playing Missing Link, players will get their taste of new info and hints about KH4. Some of the figures are in fact connected to KH4, he explained. Some other mysteries not tied to KH4 will also be explored. And that's about it for this video, folks. If you're interested in reading the Gameinformer interview yourself, a link will be put in the description below. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. As always, a huge thanks to my supporters on Patreon. Thank you. Also, for you viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. I've been Vivi, and until next time.